Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premium media podcast. Every fortnight, we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content, help you answer the question, are movies finally back in cinemas? Yes. Yes, they are. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
There was a lot of movies back in cinemas. I had to go several times last week already. I think I'm going to have to go a couple times this week. It's like I used to have a nice spread, and now the cinemas are open again. They're like, let's just rush all the ones that we were holding back quickly.
Yeah.
2 a week, minimum. Let's go.
Yeah, I've already got like 3 scheduled for the next few weeks, so it's good times.
Yeah,
Good
I'm looking
time.
at like Thursday.
And
so
we didn't
like,
double up on anything except one. So
No. I'm looking at, so Wednesday, obviously, we got Internals coming up. Well,
check out all new Marvel casts
So
when we do
today-
our spoiler cast.
yeah, so this drops, so like tonight will be we'll be watching that, all of us, and then we'll be recording that for all new Marvel cast. But then I'm looking at Thursday, and it's like, I got Many Saints of New Arc's finally out, and I didn't realize, but that Red Alert or whatever it's called, it's actually come to
Red
cinemas.
Notice.
Red Notice. That's actually come to cinemas, and it's in my cinema from this.
I will say, a lot of the Netflix films are going a lot of places. Like the Harder They Fall Western that we've had our eye on for a while. That's been showing pretty much everywhere.
Not here. But I'm getting one of the popular actors that my cinema machine more people will probably want to watch, yes.
I mean, this one had Idris Elba and,
No, not big. Not big. He's not Ryan Reynolds, not Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and not Gal Gadot.
Okay. But yeah, I think, smart move by Netflix to put them out in cinemas when there was no other competition.
Yeah, because I saw it when I was literally looking like an hour when I was eating tea before recording this. I'm like looking at upcoming screenings, and I see it there. I'm like, what the fuck? I thought that was out like in the middle of the month, and I look, and it's the 12th is its Netflix release date. So there you go.
Yeah, and then the following week we get No Time to Die. Finally,
after 2 years of trailers.
The other Netflix film, The Power of the Dog, with Benedict Cumberbatch, Jane Campion's film. That's coming to cinemas as well. Lots of stuff to watch. But let's get into stuff. But on this episode of What Do You Want to Watch?
We've already watched, yeah.
We'll talk about what we've already watched. We're covering a little bit of film news. We'll be giving some thumbs to trailers and talking about this week's top 3. Let's kick things off. I've got a review up for Halloween Kills. Yes, I went and saw Halloween Kills. I've got a review up on the website, as well as a spoiler cast, which I recorded with Radio Watson's Buddy Watson, which you can find on the What Do You Want to Watch feed. I gave Halloween Kills a 5.5. This film feels like it's treading water with Laurie Berry involved, and the story of Michael Myers is barely progressing. While there are enough kills that will please moviegoers that just want to see Michael kill people, those seeking the tension of the original film or something more than mindless violence will be disappointed. The film does end with a wide variety of potential roads for the next film to go down. We can only hope that Halloween Ends makes this one feel like an important part of the story instead of just a necessary evil. Dylan, I believe you got similar feelings about the film.
I think I would have given it lower than a 5.5.
I think so.
I gave it a 4 I gave it a 4 on Trakt, so maybe I'd go with 3.5.
I feel like it was generous.
Yeah.
In
like
hindsight,
he was trying to be nice. He was making sure you still could get invited to screenings. Me personally, I would I'd shove it to him.
I mean, there's you can enjoy a certain amount of this film of just like Michael killing people.
If you're into that. I've also watched more horror movies than you. So this was probably even less exciting to me, I feel. Like, because I listened to you and Buddy do that podcast, and you're talking about like visceral kills and like how gory it is. I don't know, I thought it was pretty boring. Even the kills I thought were pretty like tame. In my opinion. Like there wasn't none of it. I found this movie fucking boring, to be honest. It was really boring. The only thing good about it is the same thing that the sentiment I've seen a lot of people echo, which is the music's good. Music is really good. It's used terribly within the movie, but the music is good. It's just not used well. The acting is bad. The bringing back of the old characters is just really weird. The flashback sequences just feel highly unnecessary to build up that cop, whatever his name is, like his backstory. Sticking Jamie Lee Curtis in a hospital for like the entirety of a movie, spoilers, whatever, is dumb. Like it's literally
was stabbed.
Yeah, I know she was stabbed in the last movie, but like it is literally the only time Again, spoilers, but I don't give a fuck. The movie's bad. Don't watch it. It's the only time she does not come face to face with Michael at all in a movie. At all. It's weird. It is like the most sort of
something
filler,
new and fresh.
It is the most filler thing. Like, they're very well aware they're doing a third movie in this trilogy, and this just feels so filler. It's just dumb. End of the movie's stupid. Last person to get killed was dumb. I don't know why they did that. I don't mind the whole Michael's invincible thing because that's pretty much a given at this point. Like, if you've watched the rest of the Halloween movies, like, the dude gets shot, he gets stabbed, you know, like, what, like, he is invincible. It's that's not weird to me at this stage. It's just they should have got to that. They should have like maybe built to the whole. So they try to get into that mythology here where it's like, how do we kill him? I'm like, well, what are you going to do in the third one now? Because you've already hit that sort of moment of everyone being like, how do we kill this motherfucker? If I hear someone say
Evil dies
tonight one more time, I'm going to kill someone. But yeah, no, bad movie. Don't watch that one.
Okay. You went and saw the first of 2 Ridley Scott films we're getting this year. The Last Duel.
Crazy.
It is. There's a couple of directors with like 2 films this year.
It's actually mad. The Last Duel. Yeah. So this is, in case people don't know, it's like so it's basically Matt Damon I can't pronounce any characters' names. I can't remember them, but Matt Damon basically plays a like a knight or whatever, and it's set like during King Charles the Fifth or Fourth or Sixth, I don't know, one of those. It's set around that period, and Matt Damon marries this woman played by Jodie Comer, who most people would know as the girl in Free Guy at this stage. I feel like that's her most popular thing. And like they get together, and it's like the romance blossoms, blah 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 blah. And then she accuses Adam Driver's character, who's like really close to basically Ben Affleck's character, who's sort of the, I don't know, relative of the king anyway. So he's really close to the king in some degree. He accuses him of raping his wife. The movie plays out, that's not a spoiler, that's literally the setup for the movie.
Yep.
The thing of the movie though is you watch it, so you basically watch it in 3 parts. So you start and you see events play out from the view of Matt Damon's character. Then you watch the exact same events happen again from the point of view of Adam Driver's character. And then you finally get to Jodie Comer at the end and you see it 3 different characters' point of views. So there's like, my one big negative in the movie is like, there's a lot of, like by the end of it, you're kind of sick of seeing the exact same scenes play out over and over again, especially having to watch the rape several times to a degree. You're like, oh, I've seen it once. I don't really need to see this again. I guess technically you might need to see it at least twice, but I don't know, I just felt like, I don't know if I need this prolonged scene to watch it twice. But I feel like the problem with this movie is it just needed, so I gave it a 6 on Trakt. So that's like okay on our scale. It's fair on theirs or whatever, but it's Adam Driver's really, really good. I mean, Adam Driver's basically good in everything he is. Ben Affleck was surprisingly good. I remember watching the trailer for this and going, Ben Affleck looks dumb with the blonde hair and whatever else. But he's actually a high point. Like, he is quite entertaining and fun in this, even though he's technically, I guess, a sort of one of the better characters. Jodie Comer is really good. She doesn't get given nearly enough to do with that character, though. She has to do a lot of subtlety just because given the way she has to portray the character. And she does do that, but she's sort of felt a bit wasted to me personally. I don't feel like her character got a full enough arc by then, which is kind of also the point, but just sort of annoying. Matt Damon is the letdown, though. Like, he feels very out of place. Like, he just, I can buy Adam Driver in this time period. I can buy him playing this role fine. Like, all that. Surprisingly, Ben Affleck could even pull it off, but Matt Damon? No. I couldn't. I really struggled. I know, like, he was the one really miscast person. And he was cast in it because him and Ben wrote the script with someone else who I can't remember. But they wrote the screenplay and Ridley Scott was the director or whatever. But he was the sort of off part to me. But overall, the movie just felt a little bit too long. The script's not quite tight enough. And it's just a few holes, but it was enjoyable enough. I mean, the fight scene, so obviously it's called The Last Duel. The film builds to this duel that the 2 men have, where it's basically like, the gods will choose. Like, if you're telling the truth, you will live. If you're telling a lie, you will die, or like that's sort of why they're doing this. And that's a really good shot, like battle that the two eventually have.
Cool. And then you also checked out James Wan's latest horror film, Malignant.
I love this movie. This is so good. I've loved seeing
It's a divisive film from the sound of it.
Yeah, it's divisive, but I'm all aboard. I can't wait to watch this again. I reckon this will come around to be a lot of people's sort of classic they'll happily watch. And like not to be scared, but just enjoy it because it's fucking mad. It is. I've seen some. I can't say what it is for spoiler reasons, but I've seen some people doing some costumes for it as already Halloween time this year. I was loving seeing that shit. There was some good shit happening there. But yeah, James Wan like came off Aquaman and whatever else and went to Warner Brothers and said, "Hey, can I have like $10 million or however much this costs?" And so, probably more than that, to be honest. And was like, "Can I just make whatever I want?" And they said, "Yeah, sure, go for it." And this is what he came up with, and it is just crazy. Like it starts, and I think purposely, it's like like very typical horror movie. He feels very samey, and it almost feels like it's playing with you. With to a degree, knowing the audience will be sitting there watching it like, you've seen this before, but just fucking wait. Just you wait to see what I'm going to do next. And it goes through sort of 3 acts, and by the time you get to the reveal, it's absolutely nuts. But I mean, the key setup without spoilers is that you got this woman played by Annabelle, or whatever her last name is. I actually can't remember. What is her name? Fucking funny. Annabelle Wallace. There you go. So she plays this girl, and she something really traumatic happens to her at the start of the movie, and then after that fact, she sort of, after someone like breaks into her house and stuff, she starts having these visions where basically she'll like awaken in the middle of the night, or she'll start seeing things where she's seeing the person, like she'll be standing in the room where the person who broke into her house and sort of traumatized her, she's seeing that person kill someone else. So she starts seeing this person kill people, and she knows it's happening because she'll wake up next morning and see it on the news or whatever. And there's even a scene early on in the movie where she sort of goes to the police, and she's able to give details for the scene and actually find a body of someone who was killed by being like, "Look, I could see this in my vision. It was outside the hotel room. Like it was this sign." She leads them to a body and all this. So she's seeing this person kill people and trying to figure out what their connection is. Sort of delves into her past. They end up having to dig up things from her childhood and what else is going on there. So, but yeah, it is so like, there's so many obvious inspirations from one in this, and it sort of tries to throw you in one direction, but you cannot be ready for how wild this movie gets with some of its stuff in the later half of the movie. It is so good. I feel like there's definitely, this is one of those movies where it reaches a moment and you'll either the person sitting there going, "This is dumb. Like, what? This is absolutely crazy." But I remember when it happened to me, I just remember sitting there going like, "Fucking, this is so mad. I'm all aboard. Take me for the ride, James Wan. Let's go." This is absolutely nuts. Because I remember like Buddy messaged me because he was watching basically at the same time. Like walk out, and I think his message just said something like, "That was fucking mad," or like, "That was nuts," or like it was just like whatever. I was like, and I think I just replied at the time. I was like, "So good though." Like you can't even disagree. Like it is nuts, but it's so good. Yeah, I would say this is probably one of my favorite things I've watched this year. And there's like, you could definitely have complaints about it because there are like script or plot issues or things that don't really make sense. But I also just think for the movie it's trying to be, it doesn't matter. It's fun. I had a lot of fun.
Awesome. So I was fortunate enough to go to a couple of different screenings during the Brisbane International Film Festival. 2 in particular that are coming out on the same day, 18th of November. So the first one I watched was Zola, which is the film based on a viral Twitter thread and the ensuing article by Rolling Stone called Zola Tells All, Real Story Behind the Greatest Stripper Saga Ever Tweeted, in which a part-time stripper named Zola, played by Taylor Page, is convinced by a new friend, played by Riley Keough, to go, like, she meets her, like, one day before, and they decide to go to Tampa, Florida to dance at a club with the promise of a lot of money. And then, shenanigans happen. Craziness happens from there. I don't want to say too much, obviously, with the... you can read the thread if you just want to read the thread, but I think there's that element of, like, social media to the film. There's, like, the constant sound of like the tweet notification going throughout the film, like almost at like regular intervals. Like this is the point that she tweeted at one point or whatever, which is an interesting choice throughout the film. I think obviously it's been billed as like this crazy over the top story. I don't know that it like lives up to that. It's like it's crazy, but it's not like the most crazy thing I've ever seen on film for a road story or whatever. I guess the it being true is like the other element of it that like adds to it. But you know, and I think it just kind of ends as well. It didn't have a like. Both me and I went to see it with Buddy, and we were both like, "Oh, the ending just kind of comes out of nowhere." To a certain degree, it's like, "Oh, is that how the movie's going to finish?" And it was kind of like, yeah, a little bit lackluster ending. But you know, I think everybody is really great in it. You know, two leads are really good. I think Rai Keough's like doing this, like almost like a very black person impression, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. Like she's trying to talk like a black person throughout the film, even though she's obviously white, and that's like a thing that's like never addressed or anything. But yeah, it's like things kind of escalate slowly over the film, and
I mean, I think you're just saying that she's talking like
yeah, she's like talking very urban.
Yeah.
Yep, let's go with that. But yeah, Nicholas Braun plays like a altered version of his cousin Greg character from Succession. Oliver Coleman Domingo is like a really threatening figure in the film. Yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot. You should just prepare yourself for this one. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worth checking out. This one's coming out, 18th of November. And then the other one I was fortunate enough to watch, also with Buddy Watson, Last Night in Soho, the latest film by Edgar Wright, starring Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Diana Rigg, and Terrence Stamp. Follows a young girl, Ellie Turner, who's moving to London from the country to chase a fashion degree in the big city. You know, and she, after like having confrontations with a roommate in the university boarding school, she starts renting a room in Soho, and then proceeds to have dreams or visions of this person from the 1960s, which she kind of like leans into very heavily. To start off with, is really enjoying it, and like is a very nostalgic person. Like really appreciates the 1960s era. She likes the fashion, she likes the music and everything. But then you know things start to take a more sinister turn as she experiences more of these visions and that kind of thing. Again, I don't want to say too much about the plot. I think the film definitely is going to be. There's a point. I feel like with the second half of the film, people are either going to really like it or they're really going to hate it. I feel like it's not good. There's not going to be much of an in between. I don't think. Yeah, it definitely goes in a direction, and it's like if you're not on board, it's like it's too bad. But yeah, I really really enjoyed it. I think it's. I know it's been billed as like kind of a horror movie. It definitely feels like maybe more of a thriller mystery kind of thing. Some of the choreography, cinematography, musical numbers, everything in this is like incredibly high standard, as you would expect. Anya Taylor, it's incredible that we got Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie, maybe two of the best young actresses in the world at the moment, like in the same movie. You know, and then you got, you know, Matt Smith doing his thing. Doing his thing that he's been doing in like everything since Doctor Who, like being like a like
isn't he the bad guy?
Yeah.
I mean, based
like
off the
he's
trailers?
been doing a lot of that. Yeah. Kind of. And yeah, I enjoyed the ride. I mean, it's definitely a ride. I think it's really well shot. Cool 60s music. Like stuff that maybe I'm sure a lot of people hadn't heard before or like didn't aren't listening to on the regular, but it's like, obviously Edgar Wright has a love for that period and this time and that kind of stuff, but yeah, just kind of exploring the, how people kind of look back at those times with like rose-tinted glasses and that kind of stuff, and like, maybe it wasn't as great as we think it was and that kind of stuff, so, yeah, I definitely, I'm very keen for you to check it out, and everybody check it out. Hopefully I'll put some words together for the website and that kind of stuff, so yeah. Everybody check out Last Night in Soho. Avoid spoilers if you can. Even Edgar Wright like had a pre-recorded message asking people not to spoil the second half of the film and that kind of stuff, so, hopefully, you get to experience it spoiler-free and that kind of stuff, so yeah. Yeah, definitely check it out when it comes out November 18th here in Australia. Let's move on to some like TV for a bit. Dylan, we both checked out the first episode of the new season of Doctor Who. We should also announce that it'll probably be out by the time this is out, maybe. We've brought back our Doctor Who podcast, Fish Fingers and Custard, only like 2-3 years after the last episode. What did you think of the first episode?
Yeah, I think it was really good. It's messy to a degree because there's a lot of plot elements chucked at you, but for people who haven't liked the last several years of Doctor Who, not because of Jodie, but simply because, like, I haven't loved it, and that's come down to the writing, not a Jodie Whittaker problem. I felt like there was a lot of really interesting threads thrown out in this initial episode, and given that this season is like Doctor Who Flux, it's got a subtitle. It is going to be focused on the one like overarching story happening, and several stories sort of happening. Everything introduced in this first episode it got me aboard. I was like, I'm excited to watch it. Like, I'm generally excited to watch next week's episode. Whereas I know like I definitely felt like there was times where I was just sort of watching it in the last couple of years. Like, I was watching it, but I wasn't really excited to watch it.
Yeah, I definitely liked it. Like you said, there's a lot in that first episode. But, it definitely feels like it has the foundation for an interesting season. Like, if it's one complete story, it's like, okay, I'm happy to, like, not really understand what's going on to start off with. Yeah, I'm definitely keen to... I'm hopeful that, like, this, Jodie Whittaker gets a good end to her run, at least. A much maligned run as Doctor Who. So, yeah. Definitely check out Fish Fingers and Custard. That's the Doctor Who reference. That's what it's called that. So, yeah. Check that out on this same podcast service that you're probably listening to this on. So, I've been watching the third season of Succession. It finally came out. So, it's 3 episodes in now. So, we're recording this Monday. Then the latest episode came out. It's still Succession. It's still some of the best written television, probably, at the moment. Obviously, we've got this interesting conflict of Kendall Roy kind of breaking away from the family and like kind of wrest Waystar Royko away from his father with these terrible allegations that he's been able to uncover about the company. The start of the season has just been kind of the two sides forming, Kendall trying to get people from his family to come on side and that kind of thing. But maybe that not working out. I feel like, yeah, it's been really great. I especially have been enjoying like the discussion around the show as well. I feel like HBO has accidentally stumbled on to their Game of Thrones successor to a certain degree. It's like, it feels like everybody's kind of talking about Succession. You see all the tweets and the memes pop up as soon as the episode's done. There's like a gazillion podcasts you can go listen to specifically about Succession.
Are we doing one or?
No, I don't think we're doing one.
Okay,
You haven't been watching it.
I thought I would just check in case someone else was. There's so many here, I might have missed it.
No, it's possible. I'll brainstorm a name for it, and then we can maybe launch it. So
I would need to catch up on the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty great. And there's like great one-liners, and like there's some kind of messed up, very funny. Like I'll spoil this in this third episode. Obviously, there's been these rape allegations made against the company. So one of the kids is going up for like a town hall meeting in front of the company, and Kendall has set up a bunch of speakers throughout the building that they're holding it, and he starts playing while she's giving the speech. He starts playing Nirvana's "Rape Me" across all the speakers during the speech. So pretty low blow.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely check out Succession if it's probably going to be the Emmy winner next year. You would suspect. So if you don't want to miss out on the conversation, check out Succession. I also checked out the first 2 episodes of the new Apple TV series Swagger, which is like a teen sports drama based on the life of Kevin Durant, the MVP basketball player currently for the Nets. Follows Jace, who's a young up-and-coming basketball player. He's like 14 years old. He's really good, like ranked like number 1 in the division, like area or whatever. And then he joins the team currently being coached by Ike, who is played by O'Shea Jackson Jr. It's done. They've got some like Friday Night Lights people involved, and that kind of thing. It definitely feels a little bit like that. Obviously, they're very focused on Jace as like the core character. There isn't like, at least in these first episodes, they haven't fleshed out the supporting cast. It isn't like an ensemble cast the way that Friday Night Lights is. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. Obviously, there's some solid basketball sequences and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's an enjoyable like piece of like sports drama. So if you're into sports dramas, I would definitely say give it a go. Obviously, they touch on like some social justice matters. Obviously, in the first episode, he gets the episode opens with like before ABC, before I can't remember what A was, but like B is Brianna and C is COVID. So like obviously these big events will be included in the season in some way. But yeah, in the first episode, Jace gets like wrongfully like handcuffed by police, like profiled because he's like a very tall black kid. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid so far. Probably checking it out as the season gets released on Apple TV+. Then a follow-up on a couple of shows that ended. I think last week I talked about One of Us is Lying. Obviously finished its first season. Enjoyable ending. I feel like it's had a solid reveal about who the killer was, their motives, and their plan and everything. But then like the season ends with them very much setting up a second season. So yeah, I enjoyed it. But you go into it if you haven't already, knowing that it ends, but it kind of doesn't end. Like they reveal this, but then there's something else for them to be worried about coming next season.
Typical. Which
coincidentally rings true for my other show that I finished up, Only Murders in the Building. The Martin Short, Steve Martin. No. Yeah, that's right. Selena Gomez comedy series in which these 3 people start a podcast, a true crime podcast about a murder in their building. Yeah, a really satisfying season. I think it's probably one of the better shows of the year. It's definitely in my top 10 so far this year. Yeah, but that also ends with it ends on a note which they revealed in the first episode, but I completely forgot. That's how the first episode ended, so it was a surprise again that it ended that way. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Definitely great performances across the board. Steve Martin has like a fantastic comedic moment in this episode. You definitely need to watch Only Murders in the Building if you're doing any kind of top 10 TV list.
Calm down.
This year.
All right.
if you want to fairly recognize all the shows this year, you need to watch this show at least. All right. Dylan, you managed to check one more film out from the Melbourne Documentary Film Festival. You got a review up for Luby.
I think I did more than that. I posted several.
Yeah, but you talked about them last episode.
Did I? All of those? I can't remember.
I mean, you watched Finding Creativity, which I talked about last episode, but if you want to talk about that one as well.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't very good. But I was willing to say it.
You're willing to say it in print.
Yeah, I was willing to say it in print. It was just a bit of a mess, that one, unfortunately. Luby, yeah. So this is about an Australian. This was one of the better ones. Like, what did I get? 7.5, 7, something like that. It's about an Australian artist, Keith Luby, I think that's Keith Luby, who was really prominent and quite popular in the up until I guess the mid 2000s, so like 80s to 2000, something like that, I think. So he had like a 20-odd year run where he was like sort of really prominent in the art world industry. And then he has this like major falling out with his, what's the official word? Like the person who sells his art. What the fuck is that called? I can't remember. Anyway, curator, something like that. Has a falling out of like 22 years. And that sort of sees his, he just sort of disappears out of the art scene or whatever. So the film basically has interviews of Luby himself, a bunch of the other people who he's met throughout his life. The long and short of it is that he was always a bit of a drunkard, a bit of a dick, is what comes across throughout his life, and that's sort of why people haven't been willing to help him, or like how he ended up how he is. But the film also does a good job of sort of opening up and giving a look at the Australian art scene, which is something I wasn't at all really knowledgeable about. It definitely paints him as a talented artist. Some of his most prominent work he did, like he did a bunch of artwork portraying, like very grubby handed white Australians coming in, taking the land away from the Aboriginal people. And this was like back in this was back before it was more of a, people were more willing to say this sort of thing or like talk about that sort of thing. So there's a lot of really interesting tidbits about him as an artist, and like some of these other drawings he did where he talked about his schoolwork and all this sort of stuff. And he really he hated school and draw cartoons of his teachers and whatever else, and that's sort of the one thing he was good at and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, I thought it was a really good film, and I would suggest watching it if you're into, I wouldn't say you have to be into art. Just like, I guess it's just a little interesting Australian story, really.
Yeah. I don't know where you'll be able to watch them now, but
I don't know where you'll be able to watch it now, but hopefully it'll release somewhere.
Drop some places, probably like Doc Play.
Yeah.
That would make the most sense. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And I managed to watch the whole second season of Lock and Key. Of course, we talked about the first season last year. Yeah, it's out. That's not a good sign. You didn't even realize.
I
don't think there was any there was not very much marketing and that kind of stuff for it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Of course we liked the first season. I think we had our issues with it and that kind of thing. I think again it leans more into supernatural fantasy than supernatural horror. It's got a bunch. I don't think there's much horror elements in this show anymore. Like there was in the first season. I feel like, they changed the dynamic a bit. Obviously, at the end of last season, we had Gabe reveal as the bad guy all along. And then he's managed to get like a sidekick in Eden. And they have an interesting dynamic where she's very much the reluctant assistant to a certain degree. Gabe kind of plays the key central role to the season to a certain degree, where he wants to... His goal for the season is to create a new key. And it's like, that's what most of the season is based around of. They've got other elements. Obviously, they brought Sean Ashmore's character back. And he plays a more prominent role this season.
Or whatever?
The uncle, yeah. He plays a more prominent role this season. they also bring back the woman who was stuck in the it's kind of like paralyzed or whatever, like she's like brain dead or whatever. Yeah,
I don't recall this at all. But it's also been like 2 years.
She's trapped inside her own mind. So bring that. Yeah, there's a bunch of different things they bring back. They also touch on the idea that these kids will forget about the magic once they turn 18. And like the older brother's about to going to be turning 18 in a while, and like he doesn't want to forget about magic. And he's experiencing it firsthand with his girlfriends, kind of forgetting all the different things they've been doing with magic and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think it's an enjoyable season. It definitely feels like they've with this, they kind of complete the story they were aiming to tell with the first 2 seasons, and then kind of leave the door open to go in a slightly different direction in season 3. So I would say if you like the first season, you'll probably like this one as well. Even though maybe not so, but there's not as many new cool visual ideas as there was in the first season, Like there's only so many keys you can introduce. There's not any more there's not a head key equivalent or something like that. It's like, that's a cool idea.
They still use the head key?
Yeah, they do. For different things and that kind of stuff. They kind of fill in the background of the world a bit more and that kind of stuff. There's a couple of cool visual things and that kind of stuff. Again, don't want to say too much, but yeah. I would say definitely check it out if you like the first season. So, alright, that's everything that we've been watching. Let's move into some film news. Do you want to start with the sad news or the good?
Up to you. It's your show.
Yeah, let's go straight into a downer. Obviously, there was the story that everybody's talking about, the death of Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust, along with the injury of director Joel Souza by Alec Baldwin. Apparently, from reports, the gun that was used in the scene has not checked properly, had live ammunition placed inside, and obviously, unbeknownst with Alec Baldwin didn't know what he had, that the gun he was using was loaded, and then proceeded to shoot, obviously, the cinematographer and the director. I think it's fucking crazy. It's 2021. How does this happen? Obviously, we've had ongoing reports around this story. It turns out like the first AD has been cutting corners, has had complaints in the past about safety checks and that kind of stuff. There's been allegations against the armor and that kind of stuff. She's come out and said that she was doing pretty much the job of 2 people at the same time. It's come out that members of the crew walked off set the day of the shooting, and then were replaced by like non-union people. And the producers were trying to speed things up. It was like a very, very low budget shoot for a very, very short period of time. Very sad, to say the least, and very kind of upsetting that this could happen still, especially when obviously Brandon Lee's death has been such a well-known story through Hollywood and that kind of stuff. Dylan, what do you think of this story?
Leave Alec Baldwin the fuck alone. Is where I would start. So, I swear people don't. Well, I know people don't understand how movies work. Someone's job is to literally bring the gun onto set with the fake round in it. What the fuck's that called?
Just a blank.
Yeah, blank. With a blank in it for these scenes. They will announce that there's a live gun on set. They will have already, Alec Baldwin would have been holding like a plastic toy gun where they were like setting up the shot and whatever. Then they bring in the gun. They usually film the scene and then the person takes the gun away. In no world or no movie is it the actor's job to open and mess with the gun, because most of the time they don't know anything about guns. We're not to assume they do know anything about guns. They're They're an actor. It's a prop. It's the prop master or whatever their title is on, because I know it changes sometimes on movies, but it's basically that person, armor, prop master, whatever. That's their job. So as far as I'm concerned, the two people who should take, well, the several people should take blame for this, but ultimately the director is in charge of the entire movie set. So definitely, unfortunately, I know they did get hurt and whatever else, but they are in charge of the set. It's like if you're in charge of a construction site, at least, you're in charge of an area or whatever. You're in charge of a building for the manager, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're in charge of the set. That should have been part of what was going on. And also the person who I think will get charged with something is going to be the armor or prop master or whatever, that person. They're going to get charged with manslaughter. I think that's how it's going to come down, or like negligence of something or whatever. Like they're definitely going to get charged with something. Alec Baldwin should not Alec Baldwin's front and center, constantly on the news about this and getting harassed by people. The poor man. He'd done nothing wrong, and he obviously, like, he now has to live knowing that he killed someone, but it was not at all his fault. Like, he did absolutely nothing wrong. So I can't help but feel sorry for him personally. Obviously I feel bad for the person who died, but also, Alec Baldwin as well, because he's just getting all this pressure. But yeah, I mean, you got all these interesting arguments happening now about should we still use blanks and all this sort of stuff. I would say maybe we shouldn't, but also I definitely, like, I'm of two minds. I sort of understand the arguments people make for why and how helpful it is to have blanks and all this sort of stuff when done right. And they're still used a lot. And that's the thing. Like, ultimately, if there was never... Because they after Brandon Lee, they stopped using them close range or whatever. It was only used for... people don't use blanks when it's, like, further enough away. Like, see, if they're filming John Wick, they have all those close range shots where he's shooting people in the stomach right in front of their face. There's no blanks. It's just a prop gun. Some of those other scenes where he's like blasting away in the distance, so they can get the recoil on a rifle or something like that. They have a blank because that's why they use blanks, is so they can get the recoil and all that down pack. So I can understand. So I mean, really, there should never be live rounds on a movie set at all. And if there's never live rounds on a set and there's only ever blanks, you wouldn't have this happen. Like, you read those reports that people were going out and shooting cans with the guns, like on breaks or whatever. It's like, what? Like, why are they using movie prop guns to shoot things on the break? Like, that's just asking for trouble. And guess what? Trouble fucking happened, didn't it? So yeah, this is just, yeah. I mean, if at the end of the day this ends up with people being like, we're not using blanks anymore in movies, fair enough. Ultimately, I feel like it's a lot more negligence on several people's parts. And so many of the movie sets have people do their jobs correctly and take their job serious and take safety as a priority, which they should be when they're using guns, for anything. So yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I think, obviously, yeah, you just have to be super safe and keep everybody's best interest as a priority. On the issue of using proper guns, I think they should just stop doing it. I think we've also seen a lot of stories of like crew members on a lot of projects come out and say that they've started to have issues with tinnitus and that kind of stuff because obviously it still makes the gunshot sound and it's quite loud. Even if it's a blank, like, especially if they're filming like quite close to the gun and that kind of stuff. Visual effects have obviously gotten so good, and like, obviously you can't, to a certain degree, you can't replicate that recoil. But it's 2021. I'm sure someone can figure out how to make a fake gun that does recoil. I'm sure it can't be that difficult to pull off somehow. You just have like some sort of weight mechanism inside the fake gun or something.
I totally get all of those arguments. It's just sometimes, and it's weird because I'm usually on the very like the opposite end of this, but to a degree, I also see people like make arguments about when stunts go wrong. So, you know, like if someone like stunts happen, someone loses a limb, someone gets paralyzed, someone, you know, like some of these really disastrous things happen, and people always go like, well, this shouldn't have happened. Why do people even need to do this anymore? And I'm never going to really be for that, because I think people need to just get a better understanding that stunt people is a dangerous job, and that is part of the job. There are safety precautions that should be done correctly so that no one gets hurt. However, a lot of those things where even if they're done within the right safe conditions, there's still always going to be that element of danger to it or whatever. And we've done that throughout all of history. That's always been a job on movies, and it's for the benefit of all of us watching them, because there's still just some stuff you cannot just fucking CGI that shit. It's just not going to look anywhere near as good, you know? Like, so yeah, as much as I'm like, I kind of just put prop guns in the same category of like stunt work to a degree. I'm like, people should take it serious. People should use the right safety things and whatever else. But yeah, I don't know. It's like, just people should be doing their jobs correctly. Like, and
I mean, I mean, if that had been the case, I mean, this all could have been avoided. So, but yeah, I guess it raises a bunch of different issues that we'll probably hear discussed over the next 12, 18 months. Who knows how long?
You know, like Twilight Zone with a helicopter killed the dude and that little girl. And then everyone wanted to be like, well, why were they even filming that in the first place? It's like, well, there's nothing really wrong with them doing that shot and that sequence. It was well, no, that was completely people fucked up the safety and the, like, in my opinion, that a lot of people should have probably been charged with manslaughter for what went wrong there, because it wasn't not done correctly at all. That's not to say you shouldn't be able to do things like that. There's just, that was not done correctly. So there is a line, but doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to do like potentially dangerous sequences. I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, let's move on to some happy news. Obviously, we had the AACTA Award nominations come out this week. We'll run through some of the nominees. I don't know. I'll put the nominees up in your Slack. So
yeah, I've seen them all anyway because I joined. Remember?
Oh yeah, so you've watched all the nominees, right?
I have not, but I can vote.
Ooh. So yeah, if you want to fork out, what's it, $120 a year to join AACTA, AACTA.org. But yeah, let's run through the nominations. Obviously, the big one, Best Film, the nominees are High Ground, Nitram, Penguin Bloom, Rams, The Dry, and The Furnace. Yeah, not a lot of surprises there. I think for us here at the Splash Network, I guess the one that we would have liked to have seen in there would probably be Long Story Short, which we both quite enjoyed. Thought was quite good, but
I would like to. Fine. Yeah, I mean, really, obviously, love The Dry. Really like. It's hard to say love because it's just weird to say I love that movie. But really like Nitram as well. I've got High Ground on Blu-ray, and I just haven't got around to watching it yet. Penguin Bloom I didn't mind it. I know, like, it was good. It's not up there with the rest of them, but I definitely didn't mind it. Rams, I definitely want to watch it, and The Furnace, I don't know much about. So, yeah. That over from what I know, from the ones I've watched and the ones I know has got good word of mouth. Like, what a solid list of movies.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, and you list some of the films that missed out, like, obviously, Mortal Kombat was a film that could have been up for that kind of stuff.
No.
Come on. Yeah, yeah, but long story short, I guess that was the one that, didn't get any love at all, surprisingly, despite us quite enjoying it. Who do you think's going to win that? I think it's an interesting race with, obviously, The Dry being such a massive box office winner.
I don't know, but it's not.
Does that just propel it?
I don't think the box office, like the people voting.
I know, but like it's like it might not be the best film, but obviously it's going to have the most watched elements to it, and like
yeah, but who's
obviously
voting?
A lot of people liked it. It's AACTA. Everyone in the Australian Actors
Guild thing. Yes,
yeah.
So I presume their votes are weighted more than like Joe Schmo, like me paying money. Or even though, like, I applied I applied through as a media person or whatever. I don't know if that adds more crazy. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know if
Yeah.
the actual actors voting make more weight. But my point being, I don't know if The Dry being such a big box office potentially drives it. But I would say, if I was to bet, Nitram or The Dry.
Yeah, those are the two that, I mean, High Ground potentially the third, because that obviously leads the nominations.
Yeah.
With 8 different nominations, so yeah.
Definitely top 3, those 3.
Then Best Indie Film, nominees are Disclosure, Ellie and Abby and Ellie's Dead Aunt, Lone Wolf, Moon Rock for Monday, My First Summer, and Under My Skin. A lot of films I haven't heard of. I've heard a fair bit of buzz around Disclosure, I think, and Ellie and Abby and Ellie's Dead Aunt was one I was wanting to check out when I first heard about it. I think it came out last year, so.
I've got Disclosure, My First Summer, and Under My Skin currently on my watch list on the list here, like, because I can watch all of these just through the thing, which is handy. So, and I didn't know anything about Ellie and Abby, but that does look good. And I didn't know anything about Lone Wolf either, and that also looks quite good. So, again,
I quite like this category. I think there's generally some interesting films that get like included. So, like last year's winner was Standing Up for Sunny, which I watched. It was quite enjoyable. So there's that. The AACTA Award for Best Direction of Film nominees are High Ground, Nitram, Penguin Bloom, The Dry, and The Furnace. Again, like, I guess that kind of rules out Rams potentially as a Best Picture winner. Then they've got, I believe this is the first time they've done this, Best Original Screenplay in a Film. The nominees are Ellie and Abby's and Ellie's Dead Aunt, High Ground, June Again, Nitram, and The Furnace. And then a Best Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are Penguin Bloom, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, Rams, and The Dry. So, good that we're getting, obviously, more screenplay nominations and kind of splitting them up,
separate categories.
Separate categories, yeah. That's really good. Then we've got Best Lead Actress in a Film. The nominees are Rose Byrne for Peter Rabbit 2, Judy Davis for Nitram, Noni Hazelhurst for June Again, Genevieve O'Reilly for The Dry, and Naomi Watts for Penguin Bloom. Crazy Rose Byrne's nominated.
Rose Byrne is nominated,
yeah.
Win for Nitram.
Sorry?
I reckon that's a win for Nitram. Straight away.
Oh, yeah. Nitram, yeah. Nominees for Best Lead Actor, Simon Baker for High Ground, Eric Banner for The Dry, Caleb Landry-Jones for Nitram, Ahmed Malek for The Furnace, and Jacob Jr. Nahingul for High Ground.
I don't know, it might be High Ground on Nitram. Without having watched High Ground, but just knowing what people say about it.
Yeah. Best Supporting Actress, Essie Davis for Nitram, Cordy Carvin for June Again, Esmeralda Marimoa for High Ground, Miranda Tapsil for The Dry, and Jackie Weaver for Penguin Bloom.
Essie Davis.
And Best Supporting Actor, Michael Caton for Rams, Baykali Ganamaba for The Furnace, Anthony LaPaglia for Nitram, and Sean Munger for High Ground, and Jack Thompson for High Ground. Who are you thinking?
I don't know. No, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest.
No, yeah.
You lost
good. Oh, shit, yeah. A good round of like nominees. We've also got the nominees for Best Drama Series. Clickbait from Netflix, Jack Irish from ABC, Mr. In Between from Foxtel, The Newsreader from ABC, Total Control from ABC, Wakefield from ABC, and Wentworth from Foxtel. I will say, disappointed, no love for Bump.
Yeah, what the fuck? Was that next year?
Yeah.
Oh, no, is that how that works? I don't know when.
No, that came out like the start of this year, so it should be.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was up for consideration.
Okay, that's fucked. That's fucked as. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, pretty disappointing, but, I've heard Wakefield's gotten very good buzz. Obviously, this is the final season of Wentworth. The Newsreader, obviously well received. Clickbait did very good numbers. And then, obviously, Mr. In Between is like kind of this cult show. So, yeah.
Can you skip down to Best Narrative Comedy Series?
Best Narrative Comedy Series. The nominees are Aftertaste, Arnie Donner's Big Ol' House
Yeah,
of Fun.
boy!
Fisk, Frayed, Preppers, and Rosehaven. I don't think we'll get to it, but the two of the three Auntie Donna guys are up for best comedy performance.
Oh, yeah, I missed that. Where's that down further? Oh, yeah. Best comedy performer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah, this current list that I've got is not the greatest for showing you
No, you had to look on
actual individuals, yeah.
You said a short form entertainment? I only just noticed this. Aussie Man's nominated. That's fine.
Yeah, he was nominated last year as well, so... You know, it's good that they're, like, they've got, obviously, do a lot of different areas as well, so... we'll just hit a couple more categories. Best miniseries or telefeature. A Sunburnt Country Christmas, which was on Stan. The End, which was on Foxtel. Fires, which was on ABC. Gold Mountain on SBS. And The Unusual Suspects on SBS. Yeah.
I wanted to watch that Sunburnt Christmas last year, but I never got around to it when it came out. Because it came out like December last year, I think.
Yeah, maybe this Christmas.
Yeah. Maybe.
Best Comedy Entertainment Program, Dom and Adrian's 2020, Hard Quiz, The Moth Effect, Spicks and Specs, and The Weekly. Yeah. I think, old Nick will be very happy with the Best Reality Program award for The Amazing Race of Australia, Australian Survivor Brains vs. Brawn, The Block, Lux Listing Sydney, MasterChef Australia, and The Real Housewives of Melbourne.
I was actually quite shocked. So when I was looking at, not that one, but what's that one? Not Life's Reality? No. One of these fucking ones.
Factual program?
Best entertainment program where it's got like Ninja Warrior, Mastermind, Sydney Mardi Gras, Masked Singer, and The Voice. But Lego Masters, I was like, fuck, I've actually watched one of those things because I watched that last season of Lego Masters.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Here we go.
Can vote for something.
Yeah. Best children's series. 100% Wolf, Legend of the Moonstone, Bluey, The Bureau of Magical Things, Dive Club, Hardball, and Kangaroo Beach. I think Bluey's kind of shooing.
Bluey's in and shooing. Come on. Get the rest of this crap out of here.
Yeah. Let's round it out. Best documentary. Girls Can't Surf, I'm Juanita, My Name is Gillipil.
Gillipilli?
Sorry.
Gillipilli? Yeah.
Yeah,
like the David one, right?
David Gillipilli. Yeah. Playing with Sharks, Strong Female Lead, and When the Camera Stopped Rolling. So,
I want to watch that.
I've seen a lot of
Girls Can't Surf. I want to watch that.
Girls Can't Surf. Yeah, I've seen a lot of. I've heard of all of these films, which is a promising sign. So yeah, lots of good content there for you to check out. Good time to like catch up on all of this stuff. I think most of this stuff is out or is available. If you join AACTA, then you can vote. Yeah. You can watch all this stuff. So yeah. That kind of wraps up the news for this week. Let's give some thumbs to trailers. First up, we have Ambulance, the latest film from Michael Bay, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Isaac Gonzalez. A pair of thieves tries to pull off a bank robbery in downtown Los Angeles. When the heist goes wrong, the two hijack an ambulance to make their getaway. Dylan, what do you think of this latest Michael Bay film?
This looked terrible. It went for like 5 hours, I swear, this trailer. Like, I'm pretty sure it was the whole movie edited down into a trailer form and like had so many crane shots and sun fucking blares and slow motion moments, whatever. Like, this is like the plot of this movie, like when it starts, I'm like, okay, it's a bank robbing movie. But then they're like, you get halfway through the 5-hour trailer and they're like, wait. Actually, the movie's about how they're in an ambulance now and there's actually a patient in here, so they're going to be like, look, they're bad guys, but they're not that bad of guys. And also, this movie's Speed, but it doesn't have Keanu Reeves, so it's not as good. Better not go below 80 miles per hour in the ambulance or else the patient dies. No, get the hell out of here. I ain't watching this. Double thumbs down.
Well, I enjoyed it. I think it's obviously a dumb Michael Bay film. But it's like, at least there aren't like robots. So
ever since I watched that thing in South Park, it ruined it for me. He's doing like that thing for the explosions, and then what do you need more of? All right, then there's 3 helicopters, and then they explode, and then what a good bit.
I thought it was all right. I think yeah, it does get a little bit melodramatic and over the top. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's like, you know, I feel like he's going to be fun to watch, at least. You know, as this
Jake Gyllenhaal's
guy
really good at playing like completely off kilter characters. Like, just go watch Nightcrawler, and he's like,
yeah, I think that's what he's going for here slightly, or it's going to be a slow progression to that.
Well, that one he did where was it the you haven't watched it, but I can't remember the name of it. The museum one. He's off his chops in that too. The art one, I can't remember the name of it.
Oh yeah, Velvet Chainsaw.
Yeah, he's off his nut in that too. So
yeah, I believe he's got the guilty one, the emergency services, like something, I don't know. There's one on Netflix at the moment that just came out recently with him in it as well. So yeah, I'm going to give that one up, one down. You know, I don't know if you know, but it's set in LA. That's why the LA in ambulance is a different color.
When you get to the end of that trailer, it seems like it's a parody.
Yeah.
You watch this whole trailer. Like, I'd love to sit someone down and be like, not tell them what the name of the movie is, have them watch that insane trailer that goes for way too long, and then at the end, just hear the title card come up and just be like, ambulance. Like, come on, really? It seems like a fake trailer. It seems like a fake movie.
It does feel like a little bit of
a
dumb name. Next up, we've got Being the Ricardos, directed by Aaron Sorkin, starring Nicole Kidman, Javier Bardem, J.K. Simmons, Nina Arodana, Tony Hale, Aaliyah Shawkat, Jake Lacey, and Clark Gregg. Shocking personal accusations of political smear and cultural taboos threaten the relationship between Hollywood power couple Lucy Bowl and Desi Arnaz. So this is obviously the I Love Lucy biopic being written directed by Aaron Sorkin. What'd you think of this little tease?
I'm all about it. I thought it looked really good. It's funny because like I think you know that Nicole Kidman did that like Bewitched movie, which was terrible. Yeah. For some reason, it was making me think about how that was terrible when I watched this. Anyway, side note. Yeah, she looks really good in it. I think it's funny how they're like hiding her, and I guess you can't really even tell it's Nicole Kidman to a degree. It doesn't look like typical Nicole Kidman thing. Javier Bardem also looks quite good, although I guess his accent kind of, he's trying to hide it, but also it just gives away. It's still Javier Bardem. But yeah, it's an interesting project for, I think, Aaron Sorkin to rotate to after Trial of the Chicago 7, which was a Netflix thing, and now this is a Prime thing. Different,
oh yeah,
yeah. Like, also, just very different, like I guess topics and stuff like that. And I mean, it's only his third movie he's directed, so because he usually just writes stuff, so he's full on into the writing directing game now, which is a thing. But yeah, I'm definitely keen for this. Double thumbs up.
I'm keen.
Double thumbs.
I'm keen for it as well. I think everybody looks good. I feel like this is like kind of the Aaron Sorkin stuff I kind of really like. Obviously, he had, The Newsroom, but, he also did Sports Night and Studio 60 or whatever, which was the SNL-like series that ran for, like, less than a season. He does enjoy these, behind-the-scenes looks at television and that kind of stuff, so, yeah, I'm keen for it. I think everybody looks really good, so I'll give this, 2 thumbs up as well. It's like, it'll be interesting because obviously I feel like a lot of younger people like know I Love Lucy, but not necessarily know the stories behind I Love Lucy, and the how production and stuff was done during that time. So yeah, always keen to check out like those behind the scenes type of movies. Next up, we've got The Lost Daughter, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, starring Olivia Colman, Dakota Johnson, Jessie Buckley, Paul Mescal, Peter Sarsgaard, and Ed Harris. A college professor confronts her unsettling past after meeting a woman and her young daughter while on vacation in Italy. Her obsession with the woman and her daughter prompts memories of her early motherhood. This one has gotten a good lot of buzz. I think Maggie Gyllenhaal's picked up like a few awards at a few different festivals. I think it's even talk of it being an Oscar contender. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer?
It looks insane, eh? Don't know what the hell's going on. The other thing that threw me for a span of my works was I did not realize it was Dakota Johnson at all until it said it was Dakota Johnson. I actually did not even recognize her. Also seeing Peter Sarsgaard, he looks quite weird in this, but Olivia Colman's in it, so I guess it's going to get nominated for some stuff because I feel like that's sort of her. She's like into.
Is she the new Meryl Streep?
Yeah, she's like ending. Yeah, I mean to a degree. If people don't know her name at this stage, they're going to have to learn it very soon because she's pretty much almost a guaranteed Oscar bait at this point for everything she appears to be in, which is quite funny because she comes from like
a comedy background.
Yeah. And I remember like my favorite thing she ever did was Broadchurch, and then when they announced she was going to be in The Crown, I was like, from the second cop in Broadchurch, like not the main cop, not David Tennant. So what a time. Anyway,
she was one of the cops in Hot Fuzz. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And now she's doing stuff like this.
Yeah, what a turn.
Yeah.
It looks. I don't know what the hell's going on. It looks like some sort of dark thriller, obviously, but I'm super into it. The trailer doesn't give much away, which is really, really good. Obviously, it's one of those trailers also that kind of annoys me, where it's like really hammy with the award buzz, sort of like a few too many interjections for quotes, like. Just do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Maybe one or two less, or you could have fit a couple of those on like a spread. Like it feels I feel like once you cross a line where it's constantly cutting in and back, that's what annoys me.
I don't think for like a first trailer you should have so many.
Yeah. Like do this
accolades.
Do this later in the accolades thing. Not. I don't want to watch a movie trailer for the first time and have accolades. I can have one, maybe two, right at the end or something, or like they pop up, but it's not a black screen. Like it just sort of comes up. Like during or something, like it's just part of it. Maybe I can handle that, but this seemed very accolade heavy and like built the trailer around it. But I definitely want to watch it. Maggie Gyllenhaal adapted it, I guess, off the novel and then directs it, so that's super crazy as well. So two fun. No, I'm going one up, one down. Actually, to be honest, the accolade thing was annoying me a bit. I'm going one up, one down, but I'm super into the movie and I want to watch it. But trailer, I'm going one up, one down because accolade.
Okay, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. Like you said, really tense and like don't know exactly what's going to happen. Obviously, you got like Jessie Buckley playing the younger version of her as a young mother. Like obviously her like juxtaposing it with this young mother played by Dakota Johnson. Like you, I was like, I didn't recognize her until her name came up. Because obviously she's wearing like sunglasses most of the time, so I mean it's hard to tell. But yeah, I'm curious more than anything else how that story is progressing. There's obviously some odd imagery and that kind of stuff for like squeezing dolls and that kind of stuff. Like her being very upset that after being at the beach by herself, there's like a bunch of people and and then she's eating a cornetto on the beach. It's like, what does it all mean? While she's staring at her. This is
it's related. It comes back. I was going to say it comes back to Shaun of the Dead. So
yeah. It is coming to Netflix on 31st of December, and also coming to select theaters. Next trailer we've got is Black Friday, directed by Casey DeBow, starring Devon Sawyer, Ivana Baccarat, Ryan Lee, Stephen Peck, Michael J. White, and Bruce Campbell. Employees at a big box toy store try to survive a zombie outbreak that begins on Black Friday. This just looks like a dumb Christmas zombie movie, Maybe we just need that. Maybe this is the time of year where we just need, we need to see retail workers beating the shit out of, like, zombified free customers. I don't know about you, but, that's the kind of thing I could get on board with. Obviously, it obviously looks low budget as, like, a silly premise and that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's one up, one down, but it could scratch itch for me at this time of year, depending on how this season goes.
I don't mind it. It's got Bruce Campbell in it, so I'm all in. I'm half in. I'm one up, one down in. I didn't know anything about this, and you posted, and you're like, watch this for the thing. I watch it. And I legit was like, oh, it's just a comedy. Because I didn't know what it was. So I thought it was just like a funny little comedy set during Black Friday, or like that was the whole setup for the movie. Because it's not until like halfway through the trailer or whatever that they're like, oh shit, zombie. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense why Bruce Campbell's in this. Because at first I was like, okay, he's just doing a fun thing or whatever. But yeah. I'm in for it. One up, one down. It won't be great. It won't be bad. It'll just be, yeah. And again, I quite enjoy these silly Christmas crossovers into horror movies where it's not like hardcore horror. It's just sort of fun horror sort of stuff. Okay.
Right.
I'll watch it.
Well, so this one comes out December 6th in America, so I don't know exactly when it's going to come out here, unfortunately. Probably come to VOD, I would expect, at some point. Last trailer is the teaser, the drop for Lightyear, directed by Angus MacLean, starring Chris Evans. This is the definitive origin story of Buzz Lightyear, the hero who inspired the toy, introducing the legendary Space Ranger, who would win generations of fans. Dylan, what do you think of this teaser? Because it kind of came out of the blue. Nobody was...
Can you help explain the premise of this movie to me? Because I thought that when they originally announced this, that it was like the movie that Andy watched, like an animated movie that Andy watched that they then turned into the Buzz Lightyear toys. But the way they keep wording it makes it sound like it's a real thing that happened that then inspired the toys or something. Like, I'm like, what? I don't get it.
It's like we had the origin story of Iron Man, and then you buy... Andy is a kid who buys an Iron Man toy.
Yeah, okay, so it is like, this is a movie in the Toy Story world that was then...
It could potentially be a movie in the Toy Story world.
Okay, that's how
I mean, it really doesn't matter if it's inside this Toy Story world or not.
But, people are going to ask, and I just want I want in my head to make sure I've got the right answer, because, everyone will be asking me, so... No, I don't. I just need to know for my own sake. I need to understand what's going on. I liked it. Surprise. I remember they announced this, I was like, that sounds dumb. Why would you do that? Like, why is that thing that needs to be done? But I mean, visually, this just looks so sort of like serious, which is weird to say.
Yeah.
It looks really like Christopher Nolan's doing Interstellar, but it's animated with Buzz Lightyear. Like, it looks
it's like the guys at Pixar saw First Man, and man, we could do that better.
Yeah, pretty much. It looked a lot more serious than I would have thought it was coming into it. But I think that's because it has no dialogue other than those couple lines you hear people, to infinity,
countdown,
and like the cut off.
Trail.
It doesn't really have any dialogue, so the whole trailer's just built around these very interesting visuals, and I was all aboard from it. I was like, you know what, I'm in. The music, I'm all aboard. Chris Evans, a couple lines he delivers. Looks good. I don't hate him with the hair, and I know people have been finding that weird to see Buzz with hair and all this sort of stuff. I'm in. I actually think this looks pretty interesting, and as far as like a first trailer impressions go, sort of thing, double thumbs up. Because it turned me from not caring to being like, I'll watch it.
It looks beautiful, to say the least. I think it is really good looking. I like the design for Buzz. I think you think, well, like you said, if this is the movie that they saw, it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense that they would make the Buzz Lightyear toy based on this design. And then you also go, oh yeah, that makes sense. They would have like a big star voice him in the movie, and then have some person just record the lines for the toy.
But I'm also like, this very serious movie, I'm like, so did they do like a very serious first one, and then it was a couple of years later when the franchise is dwindling that they're like,
well, again, this is just
Zork
like a couple
whatever.
This is a couple of, with, it's just a mood setting thing, but I expect there'll be more humor in the...
Well, yeah, you see like the cat or whatever.
In that kind of stuff.
Like, I'm sure there's humor, but...
what are the odds that we're going to see Emperor Zurg in this?
That's the confusing part. I really don't know. Imagine if it's actually like a person in a suit this whole time or whatever.
It's like he's not wearing like a suit that appears to have wings and that kind of stuff. So, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to this. 2 thumbs up from me. A great teaser. So this one comes to theaters June 17th, 2022. So a while away. Interesting, that they released it out of nowhere. That's the thing that kind of blew my mind. Why now? What's the marketing strategy? Get people excited before Christmas? Start selling all those Buzz Lightyear toys for Christmas, I guess, maybe?
Just do
sell that Toy Story 4 disc Blu-ray set?
Yeah, maybe.
Alright, let's move on to this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
For this week's top 3, coming off Lightyear, I thought, hey, let's do top 3 Pixar characters who should get a solo film. So yeah, I didn't give too much criteria for this.
Do you ever, though, to be honest?
Do I ever? Very rarely. So, free and wild options. So yeah, Dylan, what's your number 3 solo character pick?
I'm gonna say this at the gate. I was like, I went to Wikipedia or whatever, Pixar character, scroll for a list. I'm like, nah, most of these motherfuckers don't deserve their own film. So I'll struggle. Here's my list. Number 3, Boo. But Boo's older. Teenage Boo. Or something like that.
Yeah, coming back into the monster world, or like,
yeah.
Or or if it's a movie like made by people now, it's like her dealing with the hidden trauma of her being, yeah.
You got so many options there. Just depends which direction you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, my number 3, Augustus Cousteau from Ratatouille. Let's do his origin story. The famous Michelin chef. Let's see his rise. In English, French cuisine, you got all these great food sequences, all its cooking stuff. I think it'll look very pretty, and potential for different stories, and like how he got his restaurant up and running, and like how he never had like a legitimate family and that kind of stuff. Lots of interesting material there, I think.
Do you know that Ratatouille is a meal?
Yes, I am aware.
I need to recently learn this. I cannot remember the plot of that movie at all. So I recently heard that Ratatouille was a meal. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's really weird because that's what that movie's name. They named that rat that, and then it was made aware to me that that's the premise of the movie.
Dylan, the last dish he serves to the critic
is himself.
Was ratatouille.
Oh, that's fucked up. Spoilers.
No, it's the dish ratatouille, not the actual rat.
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember anything about that movie.
The rat's name is Remy, by the way. So
yeah, I don't remember that either. I literally remember nothing about that movie. I've watched it once and I don't know anything. Sorry.
What's your number 2, Dylan?
My number 2 is Jessie. Toy Story. Love Jessie. Jessie was my favorite character. Like, Toy Story 2 was the one I loved the most as a kid. Toy Story 1 was too scary. I love Jessie. Toy Story 2 is the one I'd watch the most of my VHS. Get Woody the hell out of here. I don't want him in it. He's off doing his own thing or whatever. Give me just...
So it's the spin-off TV series.
I don't know. Just give me, like, Jessie before Toy Story 2. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh, so the actual toy Jessie or, like, the character?
Yeah, the toy. Yeah.
Okay.
So toy Jessie... Prequel.
So it's just her being left by a previous owner.
Prequel.
And then Sarah McLachlan plays.
Her origins.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And Giddy Up?
Potential there.
I can't remember the horse's name.
Bullseye.
And Bullseye? Yeah.
I think they're separate.
Yeah, but origin story, both. They come together.
Okay. My number 2 is Corey the Manticore from Onward. Obviously, she's a manticore from like fantasy times, but stuck in this modern world where they don't do any of that kind of stuff anymore, and you could have some fun shenanigans of her wanting to have one last crazy epic fantasy adventure, or it's just her, and the kid's mum from Onward just doing stuff. It could just be her reminiscing about good times, but yeah, I think that would be an interesting character to explore more. Dylan, what's your number 1?
Did you know? I've never watched that movie.
Not shocking. It's only been out 12 months, so more than 12 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's more 12. Number 1 is Bo Peep.
Bo Peep?
Yeah. Like, set between 3 and 4, right?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, potentially. Didn't they, like, kind of cover what you did in 4? In between?
Nah, but I want to expand it.
You want actually expanded?
Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is I want Toy Story 4, but without the Woody or Buzz in it.
Okay. So what I'm gathering from this is you just want all these male toys to get out of here.
They just annoy me, eh? Yeah.
Fuck Rex. Fuck Mr. Potato Head. Mr. Potato Head can stay.
Why would I want to put Mr. Potato? Like, well, seriously, look at the people you've got. Why would I want a Mr. Potato Head movie? Why would I want a Rex movie? None of these characters you're saying are real. They're not real. Ratatouille, not a real character. It's a rat. It's a meal. It's literally a meal. You're asking for a meal to be a full movie. This other person sound like the offshoot of that shitty Joel Edgerton movie. What are you talking about?
I don't even know where you're going with that. Joel Edgerton movie?
Yeah, remember he played a troll or whatever?
No.
Yeah, he was in makeup. And Will Smith was the cop.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know how that has any relevance at all.
Because it's like similar to Onward, right?
I guess on the widest stretch possible.
For somebody who hasn't watched Onward. Could you see how I can connect?
It's like animated bright. Yeah, that's not how Dick Pixar want to pitch that.
That's how I would pitch it on a box art. It's like animated bright.
Except good. And not problematic. My number one. Mr. Incredible. Give us the origin story. Give us a look at, the superhero golden age. The good times when people actually wanted to be helped. You didn't have all these people trying to sue you and shit.
He's already a star of a movie, though.
No, it's an ensemble film. And then you just kind of end. I have it in my mind. It ends with him getting married. Obviously, the whole superhero thing falls down. He gets super upset, and then he's not happy until Violet's born.
What's Samuel L. Jackson's character?
Yeah, he shows up as well.
Yeah, but I'd rather him have his own movie than Mr. Incredible.
Well, you can have this one, and then you can spin off into that one.
I'm changing my answer.
Is that number 4?
I'm changing Jesse out.
Jesse, well,
I'm kicking
Frozone movie.
Jesse for whatever. Is that his name? Frozone?
Frozone, yeah.
Frozone.
It's 20% of the movie is him asking where his super suit is.
Honey, have you seen my super suit? Yeah, that's 20% of it. Yeah, Jesse can hit the curb. Right. Sorry.
This has been a great addition of top 3. Let us know your top 3 picks for Pixar characters solo films by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here, what do you want to watch? Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show. And if you like this episode, throw us with $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support and buy us a coffee. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.